Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And here we are, victorious after slaughtering all of these filthy, no-good beholders. But anyway, before we do anything else, let's just quickly clear out some space in Seneshira's inventory so that we can nicely go around, loot what we need to loot, pick up everything without any problems, and rearrange some of our own stuff here. We need to retrieve the boots for Imoen. And actually, before we go around looting stuff, let me just quickly give some final thoughts about the encounter and how it went, and also elaborate a little bit more about things that I briefly mentioned in the previous episode, or things that I forgot to talk about. So first off, about the encounter, it could have gone more smoothly, because some things didn't quite go as planned. Starting from this traffic jam here. Normally this passage is clear, and the Elder Orb and the group of beholders here start much further down south, so you can get your Nishru's in very cleanly, start working on that Elder Orb. The other Elder Orb starts in this chamber, so it will join in the fight, being somewhere in this passage, also further down south, and focus its attention on the Nishru's likely. You can then drain some of its spells, bait those lower resistance spell triggers and all that. And sometimes this northern group of beholders from here doesn't even join the fight, and if they do, I think mostly they go through this eastern passage and then go through here or through this one. And where these two passages converge, you can set up your main kill zone and throw some cloud spells over here as well. And then with the Iron Golem you can kind of, go around these two passages, kind of block the beholders, confine them in this space so that they can receive a lot of damage. But since they started streaming in from all of the different passages and they spread out too much, and this traffic jam of course complicated things, the Elder Orb started much further to the north. I didn't want to be in its vision, not to get hit by that lower resistance. So we needed to kind of retreat, and then it wasn't safe for us to go in and unleash our second round of cloud spells. I wanted to unleash those Death Fogs and that second Firestorm from Anomen, but yeah, that's I'm just glad we got through it and this nightmare is over. We're not going to have to deal with a beholder lair like this one ever again. There are going to be some notable beholders here and there still, and some smaller groups of them further in the game, but it's never again going to be a lair like this one, focused entirely on hordes of beholders. And also, by the way, I just wanted to say that SCS has a special separate component that upgrades this lair and introduces that Hive Mother and introduces some extra beholders that we have encountered. And that's a separate component from the improved beholders, so you don't need to install this one if you don't want to. And also I wanted to talk about some possible strategies and some good ideas that are unfortunately ineffective. And one of them is these Scrolls of Protection from Magic. It's a very, very worthy place to use one of them, one of the two that we get for Shadows of Amn, but I'm not sure if this is SCS's doing. I don't really remember how it was in the vanilla game from before I started playing with SCS, but through a bug or some weird omission, the protection from magic actually doesn't protect you from all of the beholder rays. You can still instantly die through that. So that would be, like I said, a very worthy place to use one of those two scrolls, but unfortunately you are just not safe under the effect of protection from magic, which should absolutely not be the case in my opinion. But well, it just doesn't work against beholders. Also, when it comes to these potions of magic protection, you can of course drink 2 of them to get 100% magic resistance. But and I talked about them I think in the one of the early episodes, but unfortunately this effect does get dispelled by Anti-Magic Ray. It protects you from all of the other beholder rays, but Anti-Magic Ray is going to dispel that, and it's going to just be a waste of your potions. Also, I didn't want to rely on Mislead, and Mislead is not even that effective here. And of course the Hive Mother can see invisible, but talking more about the Elder Orb fight here, due to the kind of wonky beholder scripting, then they can still sometimes unleash their rays on you if you're nearby, even while invisible. So you still have to be protected, you still have to be careful, and if you don't get the protective spells drained from the Elder Orbs, they can actually stall you for a long time, because they are going to react like that when they are attacked by, you know, physical attacks. They are going to keep renewing their protection from magical weapons. They have stone skins and all that, and Mislead doesn't last for too long. It's only 1 round per level of the caster, so it wouldn't even be that effective. And also we have the Shield of Balduran, of course, and although this one reflects beholder rays, and well, let me just say that I never had anything against Shield of Balduran, considering, you know, my hatred against beholders and how they are implemented, how they are basically created in pen and paper, and then by extension how they are created or implemented in Baldur's Gate. But, you know, I've had that rant before. But anyway, I never had anything against the Shield of Balduran, but it's not even that effective in SCS, because the beholders after a couple of rounds are going to steal it from you using their telekinesis power. And also in SCS, beholders are immune to most of their own rays, so you can't really you know, take advantage of that kind of destructive or crowd controlling power of their rays, because they are going to be immune to those. But still, you know, it gives you a protection for a couple of rounds at least. But since we've defeated so many beholders already without using it, now I kind of want to continue playing like that and show you, you know, like a different way of dealing with beholders. And perhaps we are going to use it against some notable beholders in the future, but I don't know, I think I kind of want to keep it as a safety net, I guess, as a safety option, but generally continue battling beholders without it. And now I don't think we're going to need it anymore. But yeah, so also a final note about the strategies. When I talked about, you know, like waiting out certain buffs and whatnot, you know, I don't mean to like dismiss any strategies. You know, if you found something that works for you, that's great, and sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But I just wanted to say that it's like my personal preference. I don't find some strategies satisfying, and I generally always want to develop kind of like a reliable strategy that feels good when you defeat an encounter, and, you know, does not rely on saving and reloading and that kind of stuff. So it's just how I like to play. So let me just take a look if I wanted to talk about anything else. I don't think so. So here I'm going to start looting here in this like treasure chamber that they've had. There's a lot of gems that are going to fill our inventory. They also had over 5,000 gold there. Alright, and now we can loot some of the more notable items. Here in this pocket there is an amazing item. And we're going to look at the loot in a second, once we are done looting everything. And there's one more from the Elder Orb. It had some cool stuff. Alright, so first off, this eye stalk of an Elder Orb. This is a quest item, much like that vial of blood from that Kuo-toa prince. So we're going to hold on to that. Got a scroll. This is the second part of the Equalizer longsword. We have that pommel jewel. We've had that since Irenicus's dungeon. Now we have the blade. There's also a hilt that we are going to get very soon. And here let's just have Edwin identify some stuff. This is an amulet of spell warding. Pretty nice. Save versus spell +2. Very nice amulet that I think Kiranai is going to get. And we are going to give her, I think, a ring of protection. Actually, in the Underdark, when Jaheira is going to be using the Drow plate or the Faircrag's plate, I think we can give Kiranai her ring of protection +2. And she's going to be kind of in a cool setup here with a very nice save versus spell, I think. Yeah, it's her save versus spell is now 1. So very good, very nice. And also the Greenstone Amulet, if you remember it from Baldur's Gate 1. It's just an invaluable item, of course, and we finally get access to it in Baldur's Gate 2. And the slight weakness of it is its duration, only 1 turn. It's still 10 rounds, but, you know, you have to be kind of careful about it. But it provides so many immunities to almost everything. This is just great to have, especially when you get dispelled and you need to reapply your protections quickly. You know, this is going to be great to have. We finally have our trusty a greenstone amulet, and I think that's all. We've looted this one. Yeah. Alright, so now we are finally done with this place. I'm very pleased. Now we're just going to rest once after this adventure. I think we certainly deserve a little rest, and that's of course primarily to rework our spells that were specifically picked for this place here. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before the Beholder Lair. I'm just going to quickly rearrange my spells, you know, cut the recording here, and be back in a second when I'm done with all that. So see you in a second. And we're back, and I'm going to show you my spell selections in a second, after we level up Anomen to level 21. He's going to have a couple of bonus spell slots, and Imoen is going to be level 15 with another level 4 and level 5 spell. So on Senashira, we are mostly back to what we had. Also, our next destination is going to be an Illithid territory, so some of our spells were picked with that in mind. And also we have a special sequencer that we're going to set up on Senashira with double fire shield. Also, we're going to generally need to set up our sequencers again, but I'm not going to rest twice here. When it comes to Illithids, you don't need a huge variety of spells against them, but rather certain select spells like protection from magical weapons in greater amounts. So that's what we're going for. We still have that mantle, which is going to be useful where we're going. Here now that Anomen has so many slots, I think it's warranted to give ourselves another neutralize poison, just because of course it removes a whole variety of different potentially nasty debuffs that sometimes are a little problematic to remove. Also, I removed that greater command from him. Unfortunately, we didn't get to use it again, but well, where it had a potential of being slightly useful, but in the nearest future it's not going to be usable. So instead we're going to have Anomen as another source of true seeing, and I think we can spare one slot for righteous magic, because we're going to have 7 chaotic commands in total, because we have one more on Jaheira. So that's going to be quite enough. And here I think we're going to give ourselves a big heal on Anomen as well. Now on Imoen, there is a certain plan, and we're going to set up a spell sequencer with triple Skull Trap. Because this spell delivers magic damage and scales so well with level, it's a potentially very nasty sequencer, and opponents sometimes have that kind of thing as well. It's of course not going to be useful against the Illithids, but for the nearest future, or maybe not nearest, but for the future we're going to have that prepared. Of course, continuing with the theme that Imoen is supposed to be our damage dealing oriented spellcaster for now. At level 4 she has another spell slot, so I think I'm going to do something nice with her as well, get that Fire Shield Blue memorized, and at level 5 going to get Sunfire, just for the future as a, you know, damage dealing spell, and not for the Illithids, but for some other stuff. Of course, more protection from magical weapons, and that's her. And Edwin changed the least in his selection. Of course, we had to rework his level 4. He's going to set up his minor sequencer again. And here I'm going to get more protection from magical weapons, and I also memorized one more protection from magic energy. You know, like there's nothing that's going to be too useful against the Illithids and some future stuff, so at least we can protect some of our people from their detonate damage, perhaps, although that damage is quite low, but still. And I think I'm going to hold on to this Kako Fiend. Perhaps there's going to be a decent enough situation to unleash him and showcase how summoning demons works for us as players, because in SCS there is a difference. They work a little bit differently for our opponents, so that's going to be a decent opportunity, I think, to elaborate on that and explain how everything works. And also, before we rest, we're going to unleash our familiar so that it can rest together with us and recharge his invisibility spell. And we're definitely going to treat ourselves to a nice room and have some nice rest. Alright, and let's set up these sequencers before I forget. Here we're going to give ourselves those fire shields and a stone skin. And the minor sequencer is going to contain mirror images and blur. It's kind of you know, pretty cool how we have 3 mages and every one of them has kind of a different preference for spells, kind of a different theme. Alright, so let's get those skull traps prepared. And on Edwin, this is not going to be useful already, but I think we're going to give him maybe that double glitter dust, so that he can have double glitter dust. Imon is going to have double magic missile. And Senashira, of course, has some protections. So yeah, there we go. That's the last of these side areas, the eastern tunnels. And here, it's for what's about to happen. We are going to get captured again, and there should be an infomercial playing here. Just asking, are you tired of getting captured? Have you had enough of constantly having to regain your freedom? Well, you're not in luck, because we don't have the perfect product for you. You're going to have to do it the hard way, as usual. So of course, from the descriptions there, you perhaps... well, there wasn't that great of a chance to read, so we're going to display it here. That, of course, the Illithids showed up, and with their psionic powers, they were able to, like, knock us out, and we have now become their captives, and that's a pretty scary thought. And here there's going to be a sequence of events that we have to largely just kind of wait out. And there's going to be a fight coming up, so let's just prepare a little bit with some buffs. I think, yeah, let's give Senashira a stone skin, and let's give her some chaotic commands, especially since it seems like 3 of our party members are still invisible. I think I'm going to only protect Imoen, Anomen, and Senashira. And we will just not reveal the other people in the upcoming fight. It's going to be quite easy. And yeah, there should be an ogre appearing soon. That's going to explain our current predicament. He's actually quite a likable fellow. You wakey now, I sees. Goods, now it's time to fight. Well, we can be pretty aggressive here. Fine then, I'll have your head. No, silly little one, you don't fight me. I earned the right to not fight. No, you fight in the arena. Listen, I tell you what you need to know. First thing, I not the one that capture. You trespass on the home of the flayers, and you got caught. Now you pay for your stay, understand? Next thing, you better fight well in the arena, because if you don't fight well, you die. If you don't fight at all, you die. Maybe you'll live long enough to get servant position, better than fighting. Oh, last rule, never attack the flayers. You are in their home. They kill you with their thoughts. So yeah, because we are in their domain, at the heart of their, you know, dungeon here, their psionic powers are so powerful that, of course, they were able to easily capture us. And here he is not going to be bribed, but I think this is an interesting conversation option that's going to make him mention something important. Yeah, of course, we cannot offer him his life, because as soon as I disobey, I drop dead because of color. So there are some colors that these slaves are wearing, and we don't have them yet. Yeah, we don't know nothing about it. Yeah, you will live if you fight well. I warn though, do not anger spectators. They're extra strong in this place because of big brain. First battle begins now. So yeah, he mentions some kind of a brain. And you know, this being their city. And the first fight is just against some Umber Hulks, and I protected all 3 of my visible characters because it's not really... you know, since we get spawned here, it's not really feasible to just, you know, approach them with one character that would absorb all of these confusions and then enter with others. But, like, any of these visible characters could have gotten confused and just be problematic. And yeah, and here we have the Illithids just being the crowd there. Spectating. Yeah, for now you live. I can't tell you when next battle begins. And now we're actually going to be able to open the door to the adjacent prison, but you also got some potions. We're going to distribute here. Alright, and in the other prison we're going to meet some Githyanki and Simiaz.
I see we are not alone in this place. It is the worst of fates, for we are entrapped by the feared and despicable Illithids.
They're going to be pretty funny when talking about Illithids. And to think we would suffer the same fate as you who should have died in our ambush upon the sea. So it turns out these are the same Githyanki that we fought on the Saman Havarian's ship before the Sahuagin interfered. We are all destined for the same fate as playthings in the arena. A foul way to end a being's life, I think. And so we'll probably have to fight each other. And they came here specifically to reclaim that silver sword. And the ship was capsized, and now we are in custody of the most hated of enemies, the Illithid mind flayers. This is an abomination I will not allow. And I think I mentioned this before, but just as a reminder, the Githyanki really have a special place, I guess, in their hearts when it comes to Illithids. They hate them the most of all, because when it comes to the history of the Gith race before they split into the Githzerai and the Githyanki, you know, they were enslaved by the Mind Flayers for many generations before they could develop their mental fortitude enough to, you know, escape that psionic control and regain freedom. But the Githyanki, contrary to the Githzerai, who are more like peacefully inclined and more cerebral, I guess, the Githyanki are still an evil, warlike race that operate under the assumption that they just basically have to destroy other races so they do not get enslaved again by anyone. And this is actually pretty cool that in this dungeon we will be able to... It's pretty cool that the developers actually, you know, took this opportunity, I guess, to showcase something related to that. Yeah, we harbor a special hatred for the Illithids, and we will see them dead before we are done, or we die ourselves. And they have an upcoming battle.
Please do not interrupt our thoughts. We must prepare carefully if we are to see a weakness in the Illithid web.
Yeah, he mentions something about escaping, and these guys don't have anything interesting to say. We just have to wait this out. They're going to go into battle soon. And yeah, after they are back, the situation is going to develop further. I don't want to talk too much, not to...
They come and we are drawn to the fight. Weapons ready, my charges, for we are about to be taken into the sight of the most hated Illithids.
The most hated Illithids. Yeah, I didn't want to, you know, talk over the voiced lines. And now we have to wait a little bit more for them to get their fight completed, and then once they are back, we're going to be able to talk some more. And I think we still are going to have some time to finish this first part of this dungeon.
You there, we have fought in our battle, and I believe we are scheduled to face each other when next the jailer comes.
Yeah, Animan's advice is kind of understandable, but as usual, the wrong thing to do. Yeah, Simiaz is going to have a plan, no matter what we say. Actually, let's tell him that we do not trust him, but he's going to reveal his plan anyway. Yeah, so the Illithids are strong here in their house. They have power here to slay as they wish, and escape is impossible. But we of the Githyanki have power of our own, and I believe we may be able to disrupt the Illithids and allow another to make an escape. And this is a pretty funny interjection from Edwin. We're targets, aren't we? That's what this is about. We fight while you sit there going, oh, or some such. But yeah, this is what I was mentioning a second ago, that this is pretty cool, you know, that of course over the course of generations they have developed like this the mental powers of their own, and they can actually battle the Illithid mentally, and to some extent at least. Yeah, when we are called to battle, we of the Githyanki will meditate within the ring, pushing back the minds of the Illithids. You may then open the arena doors that we may all escape. You must find a way out of the Illithid city. We will distract the Illithids until you succeed in forcing your way from this twisted city. Okay, we will escape from this city, hopefully. We will go through the city to escape the city. Anyway, our meditations are done. Or no, once our meditations are done, there will be no more instant death in the arena, but through the door is the only path that is possible. So we will work with them, and yeah, we're going to be called to battle soon. So just a little bit more waiting, and then we're going to be able to progress at our own pace again. Yeah, he's a pretty cool fellow. Keep up good work. I cheer for you guys, I think. Those Githyanki is awful sour in the face. Yeah, I hope you didn't talk too much with him. That makes the killing harder, I know. So obviously, as a former gladiator here, he has some experience. And here this is kind of like a free-for-all battle with 3 different groups. So we have to face off against the Kuo-toa, and since they see invisible, I'm just going to pull these unprotected characters a little bit back, because we need the chaotic commands not to get stunned by their bolts. Actually, we're going to give Stone Skin for Edwin, just in case. Yeah, that guy is kind of interested in battling Edwin. Yeah, slay these Kuo-toa and find our escape from this place. We will deal with the hated Illithids. Yeah, they're going to have kind of like a psionic battle here. And we can go and finish these guys off. I'm going to keep the screen here just to showcase a little bit of it. And once we get out of the arena, these pretty loud sounds are going to cease. So I'm going to try to be quick here. Alright, and we can of course scavenge some stuff. Oh, actually a random drop, mass invisibility. Okay, we'll arrange that later. And we're going to be set for life when it comes to these Kuo-toa bolts. Oh yeah, we have to unlock this one. Alright, and now this ends. So they're going to just teleport out. And unfortunately our ogre body is hostile. And we have to battle. He actually has a ton of HP. I think he has like 240 HP and 50% physical resistance. But at this point he is no threat to us. He can just take a beating. And especially if he gets slowed by our Flail of Ages. And yeah, unfortunate fate for this guy. But yeah, now we are free, and we can explore a little bit. Here we have that hilt for the equalizer. Yeah, we can even identify that. And now we have all 3 parts of the blade, so that when we are back in Athkatla, we're going to be able to have Cromwell craft it for us. We cannot open this prison, but of course there's no one in there. That was the Githyanki place. But there's going to be 2 other cells that we are going to be able to unlock and battle some other creatures that the Mind Flayers captured. Actually, I'm going to switch to that Drow plate here to give Jaheira some good armor class, and she's going to enter first. There's going to be some Sahwag in here. And they can poison, and they did poison Jaheira, so let's just use a normal antidote here. And yeah, not too threatening, especially if our attacks connect nicely. And here I think there's going to be some more Kuo-toa. So actually let's keep Jaheira back a little bit. Yeah, just 2 of them, just 2 warriors. Boom! Even 1 bolt of biting we got from the Sahwagin. Alright. And I think before we progress any further, just perhaps have the battle music end. And yeah, I think we're going to continue in the next episode. There's going to be a lot of exploration involved. This is a pretty big place, being the Illithid city here in the Underdark. So yeah, more adventures are going to come in the next episode, and for now I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.